working day. Now I would like to invite the newly appointed First Deputy Prosecutor General of Ukraine, David Sakvarelidze. He will tell us what he is, what he will be doing in his position, and what are the challenges of his office and him. Good afternoon. First of all, I would like to say that for me, it's twice important to be here and to talk to you, because today is the anniversary from the day when there was the mass shooting of the heroes in Maidan, the heroes who gave their lives for the freedom of Ukraine, Georgia, and the freedom of the world, the victory of Ukraine in this war. Not just for territorial integrity, but in the war against corruption, is also the victory of Georgia, especially in the war for freedom. So for me, it's twice important to be and work in that agency, in the office, and to reform the the agency which is so important for fighting corruption. First of all, I would like to thank Ukrainian society for trusting to me this important position. I would like to say that I will do everything possible to justify the expectations of Ukrainian society. My main objective is to create maximally modern institution of the Prosecutor General of Ukraine, which first of all will be serving the society. First of all, we need to free Ukrainian Prosecutor Office from some extra functions which are there, and it will be oriented specifically to two main functions: combating crime and corruption. It will be representing the interests of the state and state prosecution in the courts, and will be also supervising the whole investigation process. We are starting from transforming this office into a transparent and modern law enforcement body. This is possible only with the participation of all the citizens of Ukraine. The parliament, international organizations will change the rules and will be open for mass media, will be open for all the participants, for NGOs, for who this office was one of the most closed ones. The prosecutor corruptionist, the prosecutor businessman, this should stay in the past as part of a very negative and dark past of Ukraine. We want to open doors for motivated youth, not youth, but for the enthusiasts who are ready to serve the society and the interests of the society. What is most important will be creating the system and the mechanisms where we'll know exactly what every prosecutor is doing. We will outline all the standards that all the prosecutors, investigators will follow, so that the prosecutor's office serves the interests of the society. The main principle we'll follow is openness, competence, and bravery, courage. Thank you. I'm happy to meet you, and I'm ready to answer any of your questions. Thank you, David. Ukrainska Pravda. Could you please tell, have you already received our citizenship? Have you refused from your citizenship, and you are not working on investigation? Yeah, you're just reforming the structure. First of all, I have accepted the citizenship of Ukraine. That's very important for me. It's impossible to take the position in the civil service of Ukraine without that. And parallel to that, there's a procedure going on in Georgia. I lose the Georgian citizenship when I take the citizenship of another country. As to investigation, I'm not responsible for that. But I believe that for me, it is important to start systemic reform of the structure of prosecutor's office. If we start the system, if we start correct mechanisms, if we open the system, that would influence all the functions of the prosecutor office, especially the investigation, which in some time the prosecutor office will not have. It is important for the prosecutor office to be a modern mechanism and institution. Do you know what salaries we have? I know. And the normal person, without being a corruptionist, cannot work like that. In Georgia, we had the same problem. I give you my example. When I started to work in civil service in 2002, my salary was $20. After new government came to power, it was going up, and it was going up because such people as myself, I'm not just giving compliments to me, there are my colleagues here, we all became the participants of the process of reforms. In a year, the same year in 2003, we managed to increase it to 120, then it was 220, then 450, then $700. We all knew that we are participants of the process, that everyone puts one brick into the construction of the state. I know that the acting salaries in prosecutor's office are minimum, and we started to work on that. As you know, according to the new law of Ukraine, we are cutting down the number of personnel. This will allow us to increase salaries and create good bonus system. Salary is a very important component, but not the main one. There are parallel additional motivations, and we need to create the modern system of prosecution according to that. There was a statement that there will be some anti-corruption prosecutor. Do you know anything about that position? What is your idea of how to combat corruption, how to defeat? We need to defeat corruption Ukrainian way. You have many talented, motivated young people. A year later, people were giving their lives not to have corruption in Ukraine. These are the people who are in different law enforcement agencies and prosecutor's office, in other spheres. We need to offer them new standards and new rules. We've been working for 5 months on the concept of an anti-corruption bureau. We were together with the civil society, with the presidential administration and the MPs. We were those who were developing the new draft law, which is in the parliament, and according to that, there will be a department of anti-corruption set up, and people will be enrolled there, just like into anti-corruption bureau. In a transparent way, you will see specific changes and new people which will get there via new system. In a week, next week, I will be presenting the specific plan of actions, a specific strategy of how we see the reformed prosecutor's office, and one of that will be anti-corruption prosecution office. 2 questions. Could you specify what will be your KPI a year after you are in office? And the second question, are you planning to involve into reforms your colleagues from Georgia? Can we expect some more people from Georgia to be appointed? The reforms, Ukrainians should participate in the reforms. We will help you find such Ukrainians. Georgian experience is important. The Georgians will not work in prosecution office. They will be used as advisors. We have a very big experience in combating corruption. You know that Georgia was one of the most corrupt countries in the post-Soviet space. Just by 2003, the whole budget of the country was only $300 million. In a few months, we managed to start this vehicle, and reform started all along all the directions. In 2012, the budget of the state was more than $9 billion. And that is the Prosecutor's Office, Ministry of Interior, Financial Police, Tax, all political elite participated in that. Talking about KPI, I will not be telling you what standard we have. You, the journalists, the civil society, will be able to assess whether, if the results of our work are not satisfactory in certain period of time in a year, I'm ready to leave my position. I promise you, we take the responsibility for results. We were not looking for a job in Ukraine. We had enough work in Ukraine. We want just to share the experience so that Ukraine wins in both wars, the war for territorial integrity and in the war against corruption. Irena Ross, a private person. Could you please tell an example from life? Can I, under your guidance, to submit the criminal case, to give the state the request to the prosecutor's office so that the criminal case is filed against the owner of ING Bank, Bakhmatyuk? You can submit any application, and I will personally control that the reaction is adequate to that. I'll take it with me. Okay, the next question from Ukrainska Pravda. You said that you are planning to cut down the personnel in prosecutor's office. What will be the how many? Everything will be presented for media next week and for next few months. I'm not ready to answer exactly what will be the percentage, but I want to cut down maximum, more than it's envisaged by the new law. Ukraine doesn't need big and expensive bureaucracy. Ukraine needs small but very flexible and efficient bureaucracy, and the same is true about prosecutor's office. It's not the number of people, but how the mechanisms are working, what's the structure of the system itself, but not the functions which are still there from Soviet times. I can give you an example, and you can just compare. By 2003, in prosecutor's office in Georgia, we had 1,850 prosecutors. By 2012, we had only 350 of them. So just compare. Ukrinform. You are running for the position of the director of Anti-Corruption Bureau. Will you do that? I'm still the candidate. I'm still the candidate. I emphasize that, because I see in the media some information that is not true, that I was appointed, but myself and Georgian team, we're talking from one person. We are ready to do that. For 5 months, we have been working actively on the concept of Anti-Corruption Bureau. The whole process has been described day by day, week by week. And people in the international organizations, people from embassies are ready to get involved into investigations to increase the trust of people and to increase the quality of specific cases, investigation. If the Commission decides that, we are ready to do it. Thank you, David, and we hope to see you here with the updates on a regular basis. And our next briefing